When the curtain finally rose on Downton Abbey, the grand finale, the response was more than applause. It was a wave of gratitude. Critics, long familiar with the series' elegant storytelling, recognized the film's ambition to do something rare, to close a story with dignity, without overstaying its welcome. Many praised its ability to balance spectacle with intimacy, noting that the grandeur of the sets and costumes never overshadowed the heart beating at its core. They pointed to the careful pacing, the respectful nods to long-running arcs, and the quiet confidence of a film that knows exactly what it wants to say. But it was not just the critics who spoke. Fans, those who had lived alongside the Crawleys since the very beginning, turned theaters into places of shared emotion. For many, this was not a simple movie outing. It was a reunion, a farewell, and a celebration all at once. Viewers described the experience as bittersweet, a word that seems to linger like the aftertaste of fine wine. Some confessed to tears as beloved characters found their endings. Others spoke of laughter, comfort, and the joy of seeing familiar faces once more. The sense of community in the audience was itself a kind of tribute to what Downton Abbey has built over the years. Not every voice was without criticism, of course. Some felt the story played it safe, that it leaned heavily on nostalgia rather than risk-taking. Yet even those voices admitted that the film achieved what it set out to do: to leave no thread dangling, to let no character vanish without recognition. For many, this was enough. Closure, after all, is not about surprise. It is about peace. In the end, both critics and fans seem to agree on one truth. The grand finale is not only a film, but a farewell ritual. It is a reminder that stories matter because people matter. And when a story has carried us for so long, the way it ends shapes how we will remember it forever. Downton Abbey has given its audience a gift: the rare satisfaction of saying goodbye without regret. Every great story knows when to end. Downton Abbey. The grand finale does not linger too long, nor does it vanish too quickly. It bows with grace. As the lights dim and the last notes of the score fade, you feel something rare in cinema. The sense that you have truly lived alongside these characters, and now you are letting them go. The farewell is not just written into the script. It is woven into every look, every silence, every moment of stillness that reminds us how much this story has meant. The Crawley family and their devoted household have stood as mirrors of our own lives. They laughed in moments of joy. They stumbled through heartache, and they carried the weight of change on their shoulders. Watching them say goodbye feels like saying goodbye to parts of ourselves. Our memories of first watching the series, of waiting for Sunday nights, of sharing these characters with friends and family. The finale gives us permission to let go, but also a reason to hold on. Because what matters most in Downton was never just the drama. It was the connection. What lingers is not simply the grand house or the elegant gowns. What lingers is the echo of voices in the dining room, the steady footsteps on stone floors, the hushed whispers in candlelight. It is the idea that time passes, traditions fade, but the bonds we share endure. The farewell teaches us that endings are not defeats. They are acknowledgments of the beauty that has been lived. As the screen fades to black, one truth remains. Downton Abbey was never just about the Crawleys, nor their servants, nor the estate itself. It was about the audience who walked those halls with them. The grand finale is not simply the close of a story. It is a gift, carefully placed in our hands, asking us to remember, to smile, and to carry its spirit forward. And though the halls of Downton may fall silent, in our hearts, they will echo forever. The story of Downton Abbey has always been best experienced together, with family, with friends, with strangers who, for 2 hours, share the same emotions in a darkened theater. The grand finale is not a film meant to be watched casually at home. It is meant to be lived on the big screen, where the sweeping music fills the room, where the beauty of the estate towers above you, and where every emotion is magnified. This is the moment to sit among others who love this story just as much as you do, and to feel the laughter, the tears, and the silence of farewell as one. Now playing only in theaters, This finale is more than entertainment. It is a cinematic event. It is a celebration of the characters we have cherished for over a decade. It is a reminder of the artistry that brought Edwardian England to life, of the filmmakers who respected every detail, and of the actors who gave their souls to these roles. To see it on the big screen is to give the story the send-off it deserves, to honor the legacy it built, and the memories it gave us. So if you have ever walked through those grand halls, if you have ever smiled at the wit of Lady Violet, admired the resilience of Mary, or felt the loyalty of Carson, then this is your chance to return one final time. Step back into Downton Abbey, not just to watch a movie, but to witness history ending with dignity. Because when the credits roll, you will not only remember the Crawleys and their world, you will remember where you were when you said goodbye. And that memory, like Downton itself, will stay with you forever. Downton Abbey, the grand finale, a farewell written in gold, now playing only in theaters. Do not miss the final bow. The grand halls of Downton are alive once more. The chandeliers sparkle, the voices echo, and the heart of the Crawley family beats for one last time. This isn't just another chapter. It is the final curtain call. Downton Abbey. The grand finale isn't here to simply continue the story. It's here to close it with elegance, emotion, and the kind of drama that stays with you long after the credits roll. For more than a decade, Downton Abbey has been more than a television drama. It has been a cultural event. From its very first episode, the world stepped inside the walls of a grand English estate and found itself captivated by the lives of those who lived above and below the stairs. Audiences were drawn into a world where aristocratic traditions clashed with the changing times, where every whispered conversation held weight, and where even the quiet moments of tea served on silver trays carried emotional depth. The original series introduced us to the Crawley family, noble in title yet deeply human in their struggles and triumphs. It also gave voice to the servants who worked tirelessly behind the scenes, their stories no less compelling. The charm of Downton Abbey lay in its balance, equal parts sweeping grandeur and intimate drama. Viewers around the globe fell in love with the show, not just because of its costumes and settings, but because it reflected timeless themes: love, duty, loyalty, and change. The success of the TV series naturally grew into something larger, leading to films that carried the Downton story forward. Each film became an event, gathering longtime fans and newcomers alike into theaters, eager to see how the Crawleys and their household would adapt to the shifting world of the early 20th century. And now, with the grand finale, that journey comes to its rightful conclusion. This final film is more than entertainment. It is a farewell, carefully crafted to honor the legacy of the story. It doesn't just pick up where things left off. It delivers a conclusive emotional arc. Fans will notice how the film respects its roots, calling back to moments we cherished, while also daring to give us something new. The stakes feel higher, the emotions sharper, and the sense of closure undeniable. To step into theaters for this finale is to step into history, both fictional and real. It is the end of an era, not only for the Crawley family but for the millions who have faithfully followed them. And as the curtain rises on this last performance, we are invited to take one more seat at the Downton table to laugh, to cry, and to say goodbye with grace. The story of Downton Abbey. The grand finale does not rush into action. Instead, it unfolds like the slow opening of a grand set of doors, revealing familiar faces and cherished places bathed in the golden light of memory. The Crawley family, with all their history and heartache, step once more into a world that is on the edge of change. Their estate still stands as a symbol of tradition, but beyond its walls, the future waits, pressing closer with every passing day. This final chapter is not about beginning new adventures. It is about finding resolution. Each storyline feels carefully woven to bring old conflicts to a natural end, while also allowing characters to face the truth of who they are and what they mean to each other. There is a sense of time catching up with everyone, of choices that cannot be avoided, and of legacies that must be protected or let go. The Crawleys, in their grand halls, are not immune to the march of progress. They face the question that has followed them from the very start. Can tradition survive in a world that refuses to stand still? The film carries us between rooms of opulent beauty and quiet corners filled with whispered secrets. The upstairs world of the aristocrats still shines with elegance. Yet we also see the humanity behind the titles, their fears, their joys, their private moments of doubt. Downstairs, the loyal servants continue their dance of duty and devotion, proving that their lives are just as rich and meaningful. Together, upstairs and downstairs weave a tapestry of emotions that makes this finale not only grand in scale, but deeply personal. Above all, the plot is about connection. Lovers, friends, family members, all must decide what truly matters to them in these final hours. The film is careful not to spoil its greatest moments too soon, but it leaves us with the sense that everything is building toward one truth. Endings can be painful, but they can also be beautiful. By the time the story reaches its close, you realize this isn't just the conclusion of a tale. It is a celebration of everything that made Downton Abbey unforgettable. What makes Downton Abbey so unforgettable has never been just the setting or the era. It has always been the people who filled those corridors, who dined at the grand table, and who worked tirelessly behind the scenes. In the grand finale, every character feels like a carefully painted portrait, given one last brushstroke to complete their story. The Crawley family remains at the heart of it all. Their dignity, their flaws, their quiet moments of vulnerability. This film gives each of them a chance to step into the light one final time. Lord Grantham carries the weight of legacy, torn between preserving tradition and embracing change. Lady Mary, sharp as ever, embodies both strength and conflict, navigating the difficult role of bridging the old world with the new. Lady Edith, often caught between expectation and ambition, is shown in a more confident, resolute form, reminding us how far she has come since the series began. And surrounding them are the elder figures, guardians of wit and wisdom, whose presence gives the story its unmistakable gravitas. But to focus only on the aristocrats would be to miss the true soul of Downton. Downstairs, the servants are no longer just shadows in the background. They are family in their own right. Carson's unwavering loyalty, Mrs. Hughes's quiet strength, and the younger staff's dreams of futures beyond the estate all come alive with touching clarity. We see their laughter, their struggles, and their determination to hold their place in a world that is moving faster than they can catch it. The film honors the bond between these two worlds, upstairs and downstairs, as something far greater than simple hierarchy. It is a reminder that behind the titles and duties are human beings who have grown, stumbled, and loved in ways that audiences recognize within themselves. Every glance across a hallway, every exchange of words filled with unspoken meaning, feels heavier in this final chapter because we know the time with them is coming to an end. In this finale, the characters do not just exist for drama. They embody the themes of closure, resilience, and the beauty of shared history. Watching them is like watching old friends take their final bow. They may come from different walks of life, but together they form the soul of Downton, a soul that beats stronger than ever, even as the curtain falls. To call Downton Abbey the grand finale, a film is almost too small a word. It feels more like an experience, a return to a place where history breathes through every wall. From the very first frame, the movie surrounds you with its visual splendor. The camera glides through corridors lined with portraits of ancestors long gone, over dining tables glowing with candlelight, and into gardens where time itself seems to pause. Each shot is composed with painterly care, reminding us that Downton has always been more than just a home. It is a character in its own right. The costumes once again rise to the occasion, capturing not only the elegance of the aristocracy, but also the authenticity of a world in transition. Silks, lace, tailored coats, and uniforms all tell silent stories about their wearers. Every stitch seems chosen to echo the theme of legacy, of beauty passing from one era into another. The colors shift subtly as the story moves forward, moving from bright tones of celebration to more muted shades that mirror the emotions of farewell. And then, there is the music. The familiar theme swells like a memory returning, tender and nostalgic. But layered within are new arrangements, new melodies that deepen the emotional landscape. The score doesn't simply accompany the story, it speaks for it. In moments of triumph, it soars. In moments of loss, it whispers. By the time the music fades toward the end, you realize it has been guiding your emotions like an invisible hand, preparing you for goodbye. Even the pacing feels deliberate, like a dance that knows its final steps. Scenes are allowed to breathe, giving weight to silence, to looks, to gestures. The grandeur of ballrooms is balanced with intimate close-ups, reminding us that while this is a story of a great house, it is ultimately a story of people. There are no rushed sequences, no careless edits. Every moment feels carefully chosen to honor the journey that came before. As the credits near, you leave not only with the memory of a film, but with the sensation of having lived through one last season at Downton. The grandeur, the elegance, the emotion, they come together in a cinematic farewell worthy of the legacy it closes. This is not just the end of a series, it is a final gift, wrapped in beauty, and offered with love to those who have walked these halls since the very beginning.